father before birth. Now, nowhere and turn to this slave and say, "You are my mother after today. Please take care of me." I'm going to pause here for a second because the purpose of this gathering is for us to learn and apply our own life to it. The Prophet ﷺ was an orphan before he was born, and he became an orphan again. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. No mother, no father. But in sister in Islam, today when someone loses their father, they think they have lost the entirety of the universe. They think their life is done. They think there's no good for them again. To some people, when they lose their father and their mother, that's it. They break down. They go into depression mode. And the list goes on. Subhanallah. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam father away before he was born? Why did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why did Allah took his mother away when he needed her the most at the right time? Is 6 years old, is 7 years old, 8 years old. Why did Allah take his mother away from him at that time? Allah did that for a reason. Why? Because so that we may use that as a lesson to learn and to be able to use, to utilize, to know that Allah, inna Allah yaf'al ma yurid. Allah does whatever it is that He pleases, so that we may come closer to Him, Allah. But a sister in Islam, a 6, 7, 8 years old child needs their parent at that time. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an orphan. I want you guys to pay attention to something. The first phase of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is losing his father. The second phase is losing his mother. Please, if you don't remember anything in this journey, remember the steps. Father passed away before he was born. Mother passes away when you needed her the most. Now, he's left with this woman. They return to Mecca. Phase 3. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is now being taken by his grandfather. The grandfather that is also the chieftain, the head of the tribes in Mecca at the time, Abdul Muttalib. Now, Abdul Muttalib, when the child was brought back to him in Mecca, wherever the Prophet ﷺ, wherever Abdul Muttalib will go, he will bring the Prophet ﷺ along with him. When he is talking to the community about any affairs, he will bring the Prophet ﷺ along with him. When he's having any discussions, any meetings, any interactions, he will bring the Prophet ﷺ. Some of the uncles of the Prophet ﷺ, his father's brothers, were very jealous of this. Very jealous. They were jealous. Why? Why is it that our father is taking this orphan more seriously, more important than us? Why is he taking him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everywhere and don't really take us? Why is that? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fast forward as time goes, grew up in this area. They all know him, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Mustafa. They all know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the chosen one, as the truthful one. Can you imagine at the young age, these barbaric Bedouins, these people that used to boast about their wealth, their women, their look, their intellect, their arrogancy, but they knew the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as Mustafa. Not only as the chosen one, but the truthful one, the trustworthy one. Imagine that character. Imagine that unique descriptions of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Could that be said about us at the young age? That child is very trustworthy. That child is the chosen one. We call our children princess. Sometimes they don't even do the princess work. We call some of them Muhammad. They don't even do the Muhammad work. We call ourselves names. We don't even live up to the names. And Allah musta'an, Allah knows best. There's the reason why the Prophet ﷺ was called by all of these names. Why? Because again, the Prophet ﷺ was chosen by Allah from the best of the tribes, from the best of the people, from the best of the ummah, for a reason. Like I said, because of time again, inshallah, I can't go into much detail about everything. So I'm going to skip some areas so that we may benefit, inshallah. So that maybe next time we can go into much more details, inshallah. But in sister in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ now is growing up in Mecca. I want you all to understand something. Picture Mecca like today. As we continue with this journey, please, I'm kindly asking all of you, picture Mecca as like, for example, just a typical example of today, where the Islamophobia around the world, where people are looking at Islam as if they are barbaric. Muslims are not tolerant. Muslims don't know what they're doing. Muslims abuse their women, abuse their children, abuse their men, abuse their community. They're just here to take stuff away from us. I want you to picture Mecca as living in a time today where homosexuality is everywhere. Music is everywhere. Mothers now are the slaves of their children. I want you to picture Mecca as a time where alcohol is being used to advertise and make what? A picture everywhere. I want you to picture the time in Mecca where women were used as a toy, astaghfirullah, to advertise everything, to show their wealth, to do everything. Isn't that the time we're living in today? Both Muslims and non-Muslims, if you think about today, if you want to make money, what is the first thing when people post at a billboard? What's the first thing they have to show? They have to take a woman picture, naked picture, put on the billboard. That will sell more money than it is at a hijabi. Let's flip the coins. If you look at Muslim community, if a Muslimah is trying to advertise something, she will post a Muslimah that has a hijab, that has a makeups on, that has dressed up certain way, that is appealing, that is attractive, that can pull people so that they can watch. Isn't that the same thing? I want you to picture Mecca where, again, they were living in a time where they used to look at, when you tell them, call Allah Ta'ala, call Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they will tell you, don't listen to that. It's going to take you away from your father, from your mother, from the community, from the society. Isn't it the same time today where Muslim men cannot be identified as Muslim men anymore? Where our Muslim children are afraid of being called Muslim, are afraid of practicing Islam, are afraid of being identified in the public area as Muslim. When Salah time comes, when they're in public, they skip it. They say, when I go home, I'll pray. I can't be with my friends and pray in the public area. I don't want to be looked at a certain way. That was the same time again in Mecca where those that said they believe, they were hiding because Allah had not given them the bay'ah for them to come out. And those again that were accept Islam, they used to be in the headed. They used to hide themselves from the persecution. And those that were not believer, the Quraysh, they were out looking to make sure that anybody that say that they believe in Allah and they believe in the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they'll be put to death. I want you to think about Mecca, not today's Mecca, like today where we live in it today, but insisting in Islam. Idol worshipping was the thing. Everybody comes with their own idols to worship, to say this is bigger. If you worship to this, you'll get more money, you'll get more reward. So do this and do that. But insisted in Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam grew up in a time where women were not valued. When the men or when the family have a daughter, they slaughter the daughter because they say that the women do not bring any blessings into the family. Islam came and took that away. But today, same thing is happening. But in sister in Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam now is growing up in Mecca with his grandfather. As time goes by, again, like I said, because of time, inshallah, I'm skipping some things so that I can respect your time, inshallah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam grew up with his grandfather. And his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, until he passed away. Again, third phase of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's losing someone that he's have gotten accustomed to loving so much, who was his protector at the young age during that time in Mecca. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam loses his grandfather again. At this time, in the room where the chieftain, everybody's sitting there, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has grown up a little bit, and he looked at his grandfather sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Ya." He looked at his grandfather. He called him and said, "Ya grandfather, you don't have to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasul. You don't have to say that. Just say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Just say that, so that I may intersect for you between you and Allah on the day of judgment. Just say that." But because of the people around him, they told him, "Are you going to leave the religion of your forefathers? Are you going to pray and call yourself Muhammad in the public area? You want to be looked at differently? You know, when you call yourself more, you can be popular, right? You know, when you call yourself this nickname will give you more popularity, right? You know, when you sag your pants, you do certain things, you might be given more look. You might have more attraction from the girls and this and this and that." And he passes away without believing in Allah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before this happened, he walked out. His uncle also again took care of him. That one passed away. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not only an orphan. We can say he was a 100% orphan. Literally, every single person that he loved passed away. Fast forward, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got to the age of 24 to 25. Majority of the Mufassirin, they said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam started to do, he was a shepherd. He used to take care of sheep. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was doing that for a while. And after some time, because of his reputation, because of his character, the Prophet ﷺ was approached by a friend of Khadija, radiallahu ta'ala anha. And this friend who knew the Prophet ﷺ went to Khadija and told Khadija, a lot of men take your goods, your stuff, your merchandise, and goes to Yemen and Syria to sell your stuff. And when they return, they don't bring back enough money. They lie, they cheat. But I know this man, he's trustworthy, he's truthful, he's honest, and he's good looking. You will really like him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Khadija, she was very wealthy, a lot of money. So she instructed the sister to call the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is called, and long story short, again because of time, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam started to work for Khadija. She took the merchandise, she goes to Syria, she goes to Yemen. I mean, he goes to Yemen, he goes to Syria, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And all of this is happening before the revelation, before him becoming a prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, before the Quran and the message of Allah being sent to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam takes a trip to Yemen, then to Syria, and that was his first time leaving Mecca, except for being a shepherd, taking care of sheep and so on. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam comes back from his first trip. Khadija has seen money from the business that she had never seen before. And she's not a single penny the Prophet ﷺ took from the money. Because they agreed upon, when you go to the trip and come back, this is how much I'm going to pay you. And the Prophet ﷺ do exactly that. The first trip, second one, and the sincerity is there. And Khadija can see, radiallahu ta'ala anha, the truthfulness, the trustworthiness, the honesty from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So for that reason, Khadija was in the process of looking for a spouse, someone to marry or someone to marry her. Again, please forgive me, like I said before, I feel like I'm not doing justice to the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by giving you a summary, by jumping over some important areas. But I'm respecting you and respecting your time. That is why I'm giving you a summary. I wish I can go in details. Please forgive me. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now Khadija, majority of the time, the wealthy people in Mecca would come and ask the hands of the Khadija alayhi salatu salam for marriage, and she would reject all of them. So now Khadija and her friend to Khadija, and Khadija now fell in love with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam without even interacting, but just by hearing the good character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He didn't go to Instagram or Facebook to look at her pictures, his pictures to see how cute he looked or how cute she looked. No. No. It was just the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I want us to pay attention to, inshallah. So when that happened, long story short, Khadija now approached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, asking him in the hands of marriage. Imagine today, brother and sister in Islam, imagine today, a woman approach a man and asks the man hand in marriage. Subhanallah. Allah musta'an, I don't know what's going to happen. You might have 0 follow-ups on social media. Your name might be somewhere probably in Guinea or Liberia or Senegal or in Nigeria or Ivory Coast somewhere. Wow, she's this, she's that. You know, she doesn't respect herself. She's, subhanallah, she's wealthy. Why is she even following him as orphan, does not have anything? And the list goes on and on and on, subhanallah. So Khadija, radiallahu ta'ala anha, approached the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam got the news, of course he was interested, no doubt. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, some of the mufassirin, they said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was between the age of 25, but he was not 30, he was below the age of 30. Some of the mufassirin, they said that Khadija, that Allah be pleased with her and be pleased with all of us, that she was in her 40s, but the true mufassirin, the true narration of some of the hadith said that she was almost 40. Some said she was about 38, 39, 40, that area. But back then, Khadija, radiallahu ta'ala anha, she had been married a few times to different men, and those people were passed away.